go on then. People, if anybody's hating, block them. But only people who are hating, not genuine questions, even if the questions appear provocative, but if they're not like if they're not swearing, then or they're not just trolling, then don't block them. Okay. So because I do have a very outright I do have an outright policy that you can ask me anything about Islam. And there's many people on my show who are not Muslim. And there's many people who are ex-Muslim. There's many people who are agnostic that watch my show and they ask me questions. And I don't expect you to behave like Muslims towards Islamic, sentiments and Islamic symbols. So I don't expect you to, you can ask questions. Now somebody objected to me. They said, I was asked a question, and actually I want to mention something here. I want to say a few words, and people, this is an important message. I'd like you to actually pay attention, and this, inshallah, this message, especially when it's set out as a separate clip, I would like you to share this far and wide to people, okay? I'd like to say something being serious in this topic. You see, I had a very interesting encounter just the other day. I bumped into someone, and he had a chat with me, and he was deeply offended, or he felt he was offended by what I'd said. Now, he was also, I could tell that he felt hurt. He felt I think he said his name was Yasin, but from Birmingham. And just met him locally, just where we just chill out, and he came and we had this chat. Now, he'd said, you see, now this is what I want to address, part of the propaganda against me that people put out. Now, that's what I want to address. I want to say that, look, by all means, disagree with me. Hate what I say. I don't mind even if you hate it. I don't mind if you refute it. I don't mind if you mock it, my opinions. Like, let's say I say, oh, I think this is how this happened, or this is my view on this, or I'm going to speak a little later on Harut and Marut, these two alleged angels that were teaching people magic, and what is this story about. Now, you might disagree with my view on this. You might and you might take the mick out of, or anything. I don't mind. Okay. I'm entitled to an opinion. You're entitled to an opinion. You're entitled to an opinion about me as well. No objection to that. But don't, you see, this is especially, what I'm saying, this part, it goes out to people like preachers, people like Asrar Rashid, and other people who actually propagate hatred against me. Now, what they do is, you see, if they just present my masail as it is, as what I'm saying, I have no problem with that. But they will lie and then present that. So they teach things like, and this is not just restricted to Asrar, there's other people as well. They say that I teach and advocate insulting the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And I won't lie, I was hurt to hear this. Because I thought, wait a minute. If you want to spread something about me, spread my actual opinion and refute it. By all means, say that, what on earth is this? This is nonsense. This is nonsense. But spreading lies and then refuting them, to me, is such a cheap shot. It is unacceptable. So like Asrar Rashid, I was reading a question from here by somebody who wasn't even a Muslim. They asked a question that, do Muslims believe that the prophets are preserved in their graves, or do their bodies rot away and the insects eat them and things like this? This was the question. And I'm actually reading it. I'm going in the video, I'm saying, do they rot or read away? And then I say, oh, okay, that's an interesting question, a good question. Let's answer it. Now, he was saying to people that I'm teaching, now this is how I'm teaching it, that the bodies of the prophets rot away and insects eat them and things like this. And look, I'm saying it. And he's quoting that part. And then they're objecting. I said, but that's the question. I'm reading the question. And they said, well, but you still read it. And this is how they're promoting this. And so this brother I met, he came and he was under the impression that, because this is what he's been told as well, so he thought that, oh, this is what I'm teaching people, that we should all believe that the prophets rot. And I said, well, ayadhu billah. That is so disappointing to hear. The issue on this was simply, this was the issue, that we as Muslims, and I said in that clip in the beginning, I've got a detailed clip, please watch it. It's about 40 minutes long. I mention in the clip that, look, there are two opinions. There's a devotional approach, which is just all about utmost reverence and respect. And then there's a more factual approach. Now, the factual approach, the devotional approach, is out of love. We will not ascribe anything that is somehow seen negative. And from the factual approach, what we're saying is that the prophets were human beings fundamentally, that they did have, for example, prophets felt emotions, prophets felt sadness, they felt happiness, they felt hunger, they felt thirst, they used to eat food like people, they aged. I mean, so the Prophet ﷺ, when he was 60 years old, he was 60 years old. He wasn't still a 20 years old person who's now 60 years old. And when he was 20, he wasn't 2 who's 20. He was his age. So his skin aged. He aged as a person, just as the Prophet Noah aged. So everybody accepts this up until there, that they needed oxygen, they needed food, they needed these things. The question was, when they pass away, do they remain like normal humans, or do they become superhumans now? That they no longer will age, they no longer will require oxygen, no longer require nourishments. They did before, whilst they were alive. Now they won't. And I said that the factual group, the people who are looking at this factually, are saying, well, they're still, physically they are human beings. And I did say, however, the majority of Muslims probably approach this more from a devotional perspective. And they say, no, that, even the bodies are preserved after they pass away. So, and please, if you've got any questions on this, watch my clip. I actually begin by saying this is a very sensitive subject. Now, to tell people that I'm teaching Muslims to disrespect the Prophet is such a buhtan. This is such a lie. And this is exactly the sectarianism that I condemn. This is the reason that people are so disenchanted with this deen. That the youth are fed up with the mullahs, that they can't put up with them. That, you see, all you're doing is, rather than refuting an opinion, you're saying that, oh, I know, I've got an opportunity to say this is a gustakhi and this guy's a kafir. That is your concern. Your concern is not even the issue. It's an opportunity to say, I know, let's pretend this is what he's saying and let's use that to call him a kafir. And evoke the sentiments of people to say he teaches disrespecting the Prophet. Wallahi, I ask people, is it, and I said this to Sheikh Asrar, I say this to Sheikh Asrar, I say this to all my haters. Yeah. When it came to the age of the wife of the Prophet, who stood up? Now Sheikh Asrar, because he's feeling embarrassed, is leaning this way. For years I've stood up and said that the Prophet did not marry a child. And that is disrespectful. When these people taught that the Prophet had magic done onto him, and he became clumsy, and he became sexually impotent, I said that that is disrespectful and condemned that teaching. When they said that the Prophet Moses ran naked, as it says in Bukhari, and people were looking at his testicles to see whether they were swollen or not, I said that that is nonsense. That how dare you insult our prophets? When they said that the Prophet took Safiya after the battle of Khaybar, and then just took her as his wife without any full iddah, even though her husband was just murdered, and then had sex with her, and which would just be rape. And these people are like okay with that. I replied to that saying that is utter nonsense, that the iddah states that she must wait this long. And I showed all the narrations. I have a clip. When these riwayat came about Zainab radiallahu anha, that this is how the Prophet lusted after her and did this and did this, I made a video with research to show that this is nonsense. This is an attack on the honor of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So what I'm asking, when the hadith in Bukhari, when they say that, oh, the Prophet tried to touch this woman in Bukhari and he said, give yourself to me, I said that is nonsense. You cannot prove this hadith. In fact, I don't even know why you pick Bukhari above the Quran. You can't even really prove Bukhari. I took this stance. None of these people did. And it hurts me just as a person. I mean, look, you can do what you want, but to say that, oh, I'm teaching people, this is my mission, to teach people to dishonor the prophets, then why am I going around showing, defending the honor of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the other prophets on all of these things? Where all these mulvis and mullahs just sit uselessly, just tell people to accept them. They say, oh, don't worry, he married a child. Back then they did things like this. What do you mean they did things like this? So these are the kind of misunderstandings that people are promoting. I mean, they're propagating this about me. And that, that what I'm teaching is kufr. I'm teaching people I'm a closet atheist and I just want people to become atheist. If I wanted to be an atheist, you think I would give a damn about what any of you would have to say about me? Wallahi, if I wanted to be an atheist, I would announce it. I wouldn't give a damn. Look at me. I mean, I sit here teaching. I sit in a t-shirt. I have a goatee. I've done this. I have an earring, for God's sake. Does it look like I care about what people's opinions are? I've been teaching, a lot of what I've taught has been counterculture. I've been teaching for a few years now. Does it look like I get offended by, people's simple opinions on me? If I was an atheist, I'm so scared to announce it. The truth is that I believe in Allah. I believe in His Messenger. Yes, your twisted interpretations of Islam, your folkloric and maybe kind of medievalist kind of veneers that you give Islam, I don't accept. I don't feel that it's compatible with this day and age, and I don't accept it. And that I'm outright about. I'm nothing hidden about that. And I don't accept the way that you present Islam as barbaric and very anti-rights and anti-humanism and anti all of these things, and just tell people to accept it. And sectarianism. So these are the things. So I brought this up because it was a very interesting conversation I had with this brother. And it was interesting that by the end of the conversation, the amount of for me, it was very interesting to see that when this person was speaking to me, the amount of respect that he then had, even though I could tell when he first met me that, he had all this kind of, this is the stuff I'm teaching, and I'm sure like all this kind of aggression and upset kind of emotions bottled up within. And then by the end of it, he was so respectful and saying that I not only understand, I agree with a lot of what you're saying. I mean, this actually makes a lot of sense. So I wanted to share, and I said, and this is something, coming to this atheism, I said, wallah, and I've said this before, that look, if you think, yes, I may be different, but if you think what I'm preaching is atheism, then show me one Muslim who's become an atheist because of me. Because of me. And I can show you so many mullahs who, because of them, people have become atheists. But I can show you many people who've doubted Islam, who've left Islam, and have come back because of what they've heard me say about Islam. So this message, I wanted to make this very clear, That yes, I do have a joke and a laugh. Yes, I do. And that is my temperament, that is my personality, and I will continue to do that. I do have opinions that are counterculture, and I will continue to do that. And I will teach the way I teach. But I wanted this message to be very clear, that if you are going to teach about me and teach hate about me, then teach hate about things truthfully. At least be truthful. Say that, look, he says this and this is stupid. But don't teach people that what this guy is doing is he's teaching people secretly that you should all hate the Prophet and you should all do things like this. And when a huge part of my mission has simply been to defend the honor of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So I had to say this, people, because it was really kind of, I had to get it off my heart, and I wanted you all to hear that and to pass this message on to people when they say these things, that let this part, and I will make this a separate clip, go far and wide, inshallah.